If you purchase a gun in the United States in the last couple decades, you know exactly what a background check looks like at these FFLs. And background checks is widely debated throughout the United States. So we're going to take a look at what NICS is, what these backgrounds look for, what the rules are, and why they're even there in the first place. The National Institute of Criminal Background Check System, or NICS, is a federally instituted background check system that all FFL users throughout the United States can use depending on whether the state approves it or not. Now, according to the Federal Firearm Licensing Manual, this all began in 1968 with the Gun Control Act. And what the Gun Control Act did was essentially made a list of people that cannot purchase firearms in the United States. This list includes persons who are convicted of or under indictment, information for a crime punishable by imprisonment for a term exceeding 1 year, even if the person receives a shorter sentence. Persons who are fugitives from justice, persons who are unlawful users or addicted to any controlled substance, persons who are adjudicated mental defective or involuntarily committed to a mental institution, persons who are aliens illegally or unlawfully in the United States and non-immigrant aliens, persons who have been dishonorably discharged from the United States Armed Forces, persons who have renounced their United States citizenship, persons who are subject to certain protection orders, and persons who have been convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence. Now, what this means is if you fall in any of those categories, you will be denied a criminal background check if the FFL uses NICS. It was the Brady Act in 1993 that determined that FFLs are required to do background checks, and this was signed into law. And implementation of NICS began in 1998. Now, it is up to the state to be partial or total persons of contact. And what that essentially means is that as a state, they can choose to use NICS or not. However, if they're not going to use NICS, they have to have their own system in place. It used to be in the state of Missouri that NICS did long guns and the state did their own handguns primarily, and they made you wait quite a while for that background check to come through. But now NICS does both. However, it's states like New Jersey and New York that they kind of take on a role themselves, and they have become partial point of contacts, and they have the freedom to do that according to the Brady law. I've been to enough gun shops to see people get turned down, and it looks pretty frustrating to have that happen. However, it's interesting that the laws are in place. When you go through the NICS process, you're either approved, delayed, or denied. If you're delayed, you have to give NICS 3 full days to come back with an approval or a denial. If they haven't come back in 3 days, then it's up to the FFL to go ahead and issue the firearm or not. Now, what I mean by 3 days and what NICS means by 3 days is if I go in on Monday and I get delayed, I have to wait Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 full days, and then I can go in on Friday and retrieve my firearm. If I'm denied, then the FFL should probably give me some contact information for NICS. Of course, I can Google that as well, and there is a process that I can go through to try to overturn that. If it takes less than 30 days and it's overturned, I could just walk in and get my firearm. If it takes over 30 days and it gets approved, I then have to go through the NICS process all over again. So there you go. There's the NICS process, why it's there, kind of how it works. If you've been through this process, you understand. You've been there, you filled out all these questions yourself. You've answered yes or no to many of these questions, but it is an interesting process. If you're going to be purchasing a gun anytime soon, definitely educate yourself on your state's laws and the NICS process. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. You can also now find us at godfamilyandguns.org and God Family and Guns at Facebook. But by far the most important part of this YouTube channel is it's a ministry to us and we take prayer requests. So please don't ever hesitate to send that stuff in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.